Obviously, welcome to the ins and outs of content marketing, step-by-step ways for creating website content for social media, blogs, videos, podcasts that actually drive business. So a little about me. I'm Adam Toris. As I mentioned, I'm the founder of Cognicom Media LLC, a marketing and content agency. We work with businesses and professionals to do marketing and create content that actually works and gets them ROI, return on investment. That's one of the things we'll be covering today is content that doesn't get return on investment, which most people are doing. I have over 19 years of award-winning marketing experience as a marketing content, public relations strategist, consultant, speaker, and coach. Throughout my career, I've done all types of projects, from managing multi-million dollar budgets to 6-story high digital billboards in Times Square, creating tweets that generate $120,000 of business in 20 minutes after posting, and managing social media campaigns for a global nonprofit, to creating ideas for South by Southwest International Festival, Interactive Festival, that ended up being featured on national news broadcasts and the homepages of Mashable, Yahoo, and Forbes. In 2017, my last year of eligibility, I was named Jersey's Best Marketing Communication Professional under 40 by the NJ Ad Club and JSPRAA. So that gives you a little bit of background about myself. I talk to a lot of business owners, a lot of business leaders, and one of the things that they always say is, we've got somebody that does our content, we've got somebody that does our social media, they're awesome. And I pose the question, well, how much money did you make last year off of it? And the response I always get is a blank stare into space, and they realize, well, I'm leaving money on the table. Today's webinar is really going to go into the difference between what makes good content and what makes content effective. Few businesses are really doing content that is truly effective and is driving business and driving sales. So here's an example of a typical piece of content. I don't know the person that, full disclosure, don't know the person that posted this. As you can see, it's from LinkedIn, they're a second degree connection to mine. So somebody I know knows them. And this is something they posted back in March for International Women's Day. And it says, I don't need a special month, week, or day. Just treat me with respect. Don't take my good deeds for granted, and be nice every day, not just yesterday. Hashtag International Women's Day, hashtag IWD 2020. Now, this is an example of typical content. And most people are going to say, well, what's wrong with this? This is great. This is sending a message. Well, there's many things wrong with this, actually. And we'll get into that. One of the things you see is with modern marketing, we're living in an age of mobile devices. People are seeing this on their mobile device, and you literally have a fraction of a second to capture their attention. So if someone's scrolling and they see this, they're not going to get very far. They're not going to get past the word day in the first line. They're going to keep on going. Well, the other thing that's wrong with this, which is pretty much the big elephant in the room, is the picture. I did nothing to this picture. I didn't alter it or change it in any way. As you can see, it's blurry, it's pixelated. You can't even really tell what the woman is holding in one hand. That's on, I guess, her right or left. That's holding it up. It's not, I don't know if it's a cell phone, maybe it's a pager or something, a taser, I don't know. And then she has apparently the scales of justice, what it appears to be. But what this person did was, this picture is a low resolution picture. That's why it looks so blurry and pixelated. It's also a stock photo. So it's a photo. So what she probably did was take the thumbnail image, which is a free image and doesn't have the watermark on it, and upload it to LinkedIn, and that's why it looks all pixelated. That's done by the stock photo companies purposely, so people don't try to do things just like this. And as you can see, this person is actually in marketing. You can see by her headline, it says, I help companies create dynamic and effective face-to-face marketing which I guess is programs. So this piece of content is neither effective or dynamic. It's actually ordinary at best. So why is most content marketing terrible? It sounds nice and looks good, but isn't effective. Pretty much the case in point of what we just looked at. That didn't really look too good, but it's pretty much the case. It's copied from competitors or other businesses. One of the things that I always hear from businesses is, well, we got to do content like so and so, their perceived competitor, because they're killing it. Well, a lot of times the competitors don't know what they're doing, and they're not really not killing it. If you don't actually know what their numbers are behind it, doesn't mean that there's good. It's more of an ego play. It's the business's idea of good without taking into consideration the needs and desires of potential customer or client. So this is another thing that happens all the time where businesses are putting out there, it's all about, it's all about them, which is the next point. It's not about what the customer needs, what the customer wants, the customer's problems that you're trying to solve. And as I just mentioned, it's all about the business, not about the customer. You see this all the time where, we offer the best in service. We are the premier provider. They make all their content about what they do, not the problems or issues or desires, needs of the potential client or customer. Poorly executed, again, using, the photo in the example is a case in point of that. Just not really caring, just using something that kind of looks good, they think looks good, isn't measured. This is something a lot of businesses don't do. They don't measure the effectiveness. If you're not even, they just post and forget it. This isn't, if you're not even taking into account how many people are seeing it, how many people are liking it, how many people are interacting with things, whether it be social media, whether it be content on your website, saying how people, are people going on the page on your website and leaving immediately, the bounce rate, things you need to take into consideration. It's random or there's no consistency. This is a big thing with companies, and it's another thing they come up, they have issues with, I don't know what to post, so they post maybe once in a blue moon. I looked at a company the other day, and a company that's just ripe for social media. They should be posting, 5-10 times a day even. And the last post that they did was in August, and the post before that was in June. So this is a company that has ready-made content, pretty much everything that they do, and they're not even posting it. It's stolen content. This is another thing I saw recently, and you see all the time. Somebody posted on their Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn a TikTok video that someone else created. They edited the video so the person's username or handle on TikTok wasn't even shown. They didn't tag the person. They didn't do anything. They used the person's video as their own video for their own content needs without giving the person credit for it. Continued, why is content marketing terrible? It's filled with cliches. How many times have you seen the got milk thing used? There's actually a digital billboard right by my house. I drive by all the time, and it's got not one, but two got milk type of ads on it. Even I was in the car with my mother, 75-year-old mother recently, and she said, that's not good marketing, is it? And I said, no, it's 30-year-old content. It's something that happened over 30 years ago, and they're still trying to think it's effective. It's given up, content is given up way too soon. People will post something, and if they don't get the reaction they're expecting or want, they immediately just give up on it and think it's not worth their time. This is a big problem with content, big problem with blogs, big problem with social media. It's given to someone outside the company to handle with little or no input or oversight from the business. Companies will realize they need social media, they need content, so they'll hire an agency, a consultant, to create content for them. But they don't interact with the consultant. They don't oversee it. They don't even look at the content that's being posted. So a lot of times it's not relevant whatsoever to their business. Which brings us to the next point. It's done by an expert, guru, maven, rock star, Jedi that has no real idea what they're doing or experience doing it. Marketing is something that's seen as being easy. It's something that's seen as being sexy in a way. I can tell you it's neither. And a lot of people think the biggest, how do you become a marketing expert? You change your bio on your Instagram, you change your bio on LinkedIn, and suddenly you're a marketing expert. There's no real, no one really measuring it, no one really checking your background. You just say you do it, and you apparently do it. Which leads to the next issue of why content marketing is terrible. It's done from a personal perspective, not a business perspective. There's a big difference. This is one of the things between business and personal. This is one of the things where someone says, well, my niece is on Instagram all the time. She posts selfies that get 200-300 likes. I'm gonna have her control my Instagram account. There's a big difference between a 16-year-old girl who's posting selfie pictures and getting 200 and 300 likes on a public Instagram account and doing an Instagram post for business that drives business and actually results in sales or people contacting you even. It's completely unrelated to the business. An old story I have that is completely unrelated to what they're doing is there was a realtor who on President's Day posted a picture of Mount Rushmore and said, "Happy President's Day. Can you name all the presidents on Mount Rushmore?" If you can't, pretty much any American over 7 can. So it's not that difficult of a question or brain teaser here. So if it has zero relation to what he did as a business, no one's going to say like, wow, that guy wished me a happy President's Day and did that awesome question. I need to buy a house now. I'm not contact him. Using old and outdated strategies, trying to apply old school marketing theories and techniques to modern marketing. This is a lot of industries, law firms, legal industries especially, are a prime example of this. People that killed it with television commercials, radio commercials, print ads, phone book ads, all those types of things. And they now just think that all you got to do is do the same exact thing, but do it on social media, do it on your website, which just isn't the case. So what is modern marketing? There's two types of marketing. Regardless of what people say, there's only two types of marketing. There's business to business, which is B2B, and there's business to consumer, B2C. Get told all the time, again, not to pick on law firms, but I'm not picking on law firms. We do legal marketing. Accountants, we do accounting marketing. We do wedding industry marketing. That they say that there's all these different things, but when it boils right down to it, what they're doing is they're subscribing to old and outdated ideas and ideals for their industry. Sure, there's differences between every industry. Sure, some industries are regulated, like law firms. Each state regulates how law firms can market and advertise. Financial planners are regulated. Obviously, pharmaceutical companies are regulated. But when it comes right down to it, if you have a strong grasp on the basics of B2B or B2C, regardless of what industry you're in, you're going to be able to market that business. Even if you don't have the knowledge bases that are needed, you can then rely on the experts within the company that do have those knowledge bases and then take that and modify it towards your marketing. Marketing shouldn't be hard, but it's a lot harder than you think. Again, this is something that people think, oh, I become a business leader or I started my own business. You're not, magically gifted with the ability to do marketing. A lot of the things that especially new business owners do are very personal to them, the things that they like. Well, this is how I want it. This is how I've always dreamed of having it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's how their potential customers or clients want. Social media is not optional. Back in the day, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. Social media. So I was there at the dawn of social media advertising, where people debated whether it was going to be a thing or not. It is a thing. It's overtaken television and radio and print. And if you're not on it, you're losing out. Think about how people are spending time during the pandemic. You know, people are turning off on iPhones. There's the screen time thing. People are turning that off because they realize they're spending 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day on their phone. They're sitting, even though TV might be on, they're sitting on their phone. Sitting on their phone, looking at content, reading things. Think about how you do it and how your kids do it, how people you know do it. People don't want to be sold to. This is a point blank thing that's, you know, no one can disagree. No one wants to be sold to. No one wants to be in a sales pitch. But by providing content, you're actually getting in front of your potential audience and the people that are looking for that content. And that's a way to convey thought leadership, which we'll get into, and then convert them into contacting you and making a sale, making a purchase, hiring you. Print is dead. There are some, now I need to clarify, there are some things that in print that are still effective. Obviously brochures, still depending, you know, different flyers, things like that, depending on the situation, may be still worthwhile. Direct mail has some value, but what I'm really talking about is print advertising. Print advertising, people used to rely on 20, 30 years ago, was the main way that you did things. You got an ad in the Yellow Pages. You got an ad in the newspapers. You got ads in industry publications. You got ads in local publications. Those are all overpriced and over leveraged. I have a friend who's a business owner. He messaged me the other day and said, I was just contacted by an industry magazine. They wanted $1,700 for a quarter page ad. What do you think? And that's outrageous. One of the things people are still sticking to print advertising as being value is because they are buying into the distribution. Well, we're sending it out to 500,000 households. Well, how many people are actually reading these magazines they get in the mail? These days, mine go right into the recycling. The only people that think print isn't dead and print advertising isn't dead are people selling it. The Yellow Pages actually has a video on YouTube talking about how valuable their print ads are. Well, if their print ads are so valuable, why are you on YouTube? And you need to get in front of your audience and get their attention and cause them to take action. That's what, and how do you do that? Content marketing. The difference between companies that are leveraging content marketing and social media properly and the ones that aren't is growing dramatically. There's a huge gap that people are being left behind. People have content creation on autopilot and they don't care about it. They're doing it because they feel they have to. And the people that are actually doing it well are killing it. They're the ones getting the business. They're the ones getting in front of the audiences that you're trying to get in front of, but you're not able to. Social media marketing has changed a lot over the years. As I mentioned, I was there when social media marketing was discussed as, is it a thing? There was theories years ago where you have to post, you have to post same content 5, 6, 10 times a day to get it seen. There's always other theories that in this day and age are not relevant whatsoever because social media and content and the internet has changed so much. A lot of people have not evolved their marketing and they're still trying to do these old tactics and the things, as I mentioned, the print advertising, the people that killed it with TV commercials and radio commercials. It doesn't just be, that content doesn't necessarily relate directly to social media. It doesn't just convert. You can't just, go from posting it one place to another place. And as I mentioned, more and more people are consuming content on mobile devices. You have to make sure that it's mobile friendly. As I mentioned, people are scrolling through and are seeing tons of content. You need to do something that gets them to stop scrolling. And that's how you need to do something that gets their attention. You need also with your websites to make sure your website is a responsive site. If your website doesn't look good on a mobile device or it's hard to read or you have to zoom in to read, you need to update your website and make sure that it looks the same on a desktop as it does on a mobile device. So with modern marketing, content is king. This has been said for a long time. It's not anything new, but if you have good content, in this day and age, it's more Uh, it's more important than ever. Content marketing evens the playing field for businesses of all sizes. This a key point of this is the recent vice presidential campaign. A fly landed on Vice President Pence's head, and people created Twitter accounts for it. Within half an hour, not only did Twitter verify these accounts, which Twitter currently on their website says they're not verifying any accounts, they had hundreds of thousands of followers. This fly, people making up stupid stuff about this fly, landed on the vice president's head for a matter of 2 minutes, I think it was had hundreds of thousands of followers. This was done by people sitting on their couches. It wasn't done by companies. It wasn't done by huge corporations. Content is obviously a huge part of it. And for the love of God, don't buy content. This is something I've come across many companies doing recently. It's one of the worst things you can do. It's the epitome of putting your stuff on autopilot. It's always weak and generic. There are companies, marketing agencies out there who say they specialize in creating content for various industries, and they'll sell you a territory. They'll sell you, maybe they won't sell you a territory, but they provide this content for a monthly fee, and it's always generic. It doesn't target your audience. It's not even necessarily related to it. The people that are buying this content aren't even looking at the content for the most part. It's unbranded. So you posting it doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't have your name on it. It doesn't separate you from your competition. In fact, if there's even your competitor across the street might be posting the same exact content. Even if you have purchased the territory, even if the territory is a whole state, that means there's 49 other people posting the same content. The internet does not know state lines. It's global. And the content as a whole is ineffective. It doesn't really do anything. There is no call to action. There is nothing that is going to drive people to contact you. It's pretty much a space filler. So how do you not buy content? How do you create content? You become your own media company. Years ago, it cost thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to create things like videos, to create things like commercials, create content, create graphic design pieces. And we'll go through that, how to do it either for free or cheap. Being your own media company is not difficult these days. You can literally do it from any smartphone. And what makes content different? Well, it's storytelling. Storytelling is putting your potential client or customer as the hero and putting yourself as the guide. So think of it this way: you are the Yoda to your potential client or customers, Luke Skywalker. And you think about storytelling. Why is storytelling effective? Storytelling is effective because it's recognizable patterns that everybody knows and that people can be involved in. Going back to Star Wars is pretty much the same story as Harry Potter, if you think about it. Why? The story follows the same basic principles. So what is content marketing? We've just gone through a bunch of it. There is no build it and they will come. This is one of the biggest things. I use this slide all the time. Why? Because people think that they can post things and magically it will turn into sales and new clients and customers. I spoke with a company out in California. It was actually a B2B company. They said, well, we don't want to spend any money on social media because, we created an Instagram account. We did a post and nobody even liked it. They did a very generic post. Typical, it looked good, it sounded good, but it wasn't effective. They had 0 followers. They didn't use any hashtags. How are people going to expect to find them? Pure luck. Content marketing is a slow burn. You have to do it. It may take days, it may take weeks, it may take months, it may take years to really get it going. Everyone's still looking for a viral hit. The biggest way to get something not to go viral is say, this needs to go viral. Very few things go viral these days, and usually when it does, it's because it's unique. The most recent thing that went viral, one of the most recent things that went viral, was the man skateboarding while drinking ocean spray on TikTok. It was all over. It was on the news even. It was all over social media, not just TikTok, and because of what it was, because it made a huge hit, and ocean spray actually, he was drinking ocean spray as he's skateboarding down the street. Ocean spray gave the man a truck because he increased their business so much. As I mentioned, you have a fraction of a second to capture someone's attention. People are scrolling through very quickly and are consuming tons of content every day for many hours. So you need something that actually stands out. A big thing about content marketing and social media is there's the part that says social. People forget this all the time. It's not just a place, it's not broadcast, it's not you putting out there for everyone to just see. You should be interacting with people, because people respond to people and people buy from people. You have to show you're not just some robot out there. You're not the automated call saying that your car's warranty is outdated. People, you have to leverage your human side, because people, the only thing that is different between your company and your business and your competitors are your people, and that's what makes you different. You have to build your brand. Your brand is name recognition. How do you build your brand? Through content, through positioning yourself as a thought leader. Think about, Michael Jordan retired from basketball almost 20 years ago, and Air Jordan sneakers still sell out all the time. He's made millions and millions of dollars off selling sneakers, and he hasn't played in almost 20 years. Why is that? He built a brand. People want to be like Mike. So one of the best and easiest ways to create content is to document, not to create. People are constantly trying to come up with things they have to do. Should I be doing a dance? Should I be doing a sing-along? Should I be, creating a crazy graphic? If you document what you do on a daily basis, that there is pretty much free content. If you're a real estate agent and you're selling and buying and selling houses during this time, we're experiencing a pandemic and things are shut down, things are limited, go out there and show what you're doing. Start a video, take your phone out of your pocket, start a video, go with your mask on, going through all the different things that you have to go through for an open house. That will show people that, hey, people are actually buying and selling houses, and this guy knows what he's doing. Stay relevant and avoid posting things that have nothing to do with your business. We talked about this a little bit before. There's another, I met with a residential real estate brokerage years ago, and they said, well, did you take a look at our social media? Their social media was, they had one post that was actually very good, but all the rest of their posts were about football. Hey, the Giants playing the Steelers this weekend. Who do you think is going to win? Rutgers pulled out an awesome win last week. Who do you think they're going to win this week? It has nothing to do with residential real estate. And I said to the guy, I'm confused by your content because it doesn't relate back to your business. And he was shocked.
You get this.
He said, but everybody
about Dr. Scalia needs more stuff ordered.
He said, well, everybody likes football. So we post things about football because everybody likes football. Think about it. People on Sundays are all about their teams. People are all about the team that they like. People, have parties, have their friends come over even during the regular season. But that's not driving their business. No one's going to see that and say, well, they posted about the Giants game this weekend. I'm not hiring them to let me sell a house. Another thing is holidays. Holidays, people post randomly and they think it's good content. If you post Happy Halloween, and it can be good for some businesses. If you're a candy business, obviously post Happy Halloween. If you're a business that deals with children, if your business deals with costumes or decorations, if you're a dentist, post about Halloween. But for the accounting firm to post Happy Halloween, it's pointless. One of the pieces of content I created when I was working for a law firm was for Veterans Day. Our business had nothing to do with the military or veterans, but we had 3 people on staff. 2 were retired military people, and 1 was an active in reserves. So we did a piece of content that had the insignia of all 3 people, and said, Happy Veterans Day to our 3 employees and to all the veterans out there. We made the holiday about the firm. And by doing that, sure, it has nothing to do, our business has nothing to do with veterans, but that's great for people looking to join the firm. Shows that, hey, we not only hire veterans and multiple veterans, but we recognize them. And again, position yourself as a thought leader. You shouldn't take the belief that, well, the guy across the street does the same thing I do. There's really no difference what we do. Somebody's just going to call him, whoever appears first. If you position yourself as a thought leader, if you're creating content on the internet, on social media, and you're putting it out there, when someone searches for what you do, they're going to find you. You're automatically going to be seen as a thought leader. When businesses, their publications see that, need a quote for an article, and they Google, that's where people do. They go to Google. They Google what they're looking for, and your name keeps on popping up. They're going to contact you for a quote for their article. So what are the types of content? Content includes reposting content from another source. That can be, the New York Times, Washington Post. That can be an industry publication or website. It could be an influencer. Press your business receives. This is something I saw recently where a business paid a lot of money to a PR firm who did an amazing job in getting them a ton of press. There was blogs, there's articles, there's videos, there's all kinds of content for them. But this business didn't post a single one of those links. If they posted those links and tagged the people that made it and created it, it would have grown their business dramatically, because they would have been tapping into their audiences as well. Blogs and articles. You should have an active blog on your website that pulls people in. Obviously great for SEO, going back to becoming a thought leader. If people are Googling things, they're going to find your blog. Videos recorded or live. There's Instagram Live, there's Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, but you have to apply for LinkedIn. Videos are extremely versatile. You can make them into different types of content, which we'll get into. And there's people are really into videos these days. Webinars. Obviously, this is a webinar. This is perfect content. I was talking to Sam before with the Somerset County Business Partnership. She said, do you want this recorded? I said, of course, it's great content. After this is recorded, I'm going to, and posted, I'm going to make this into a blog and post it on my own personal website. Speaking engagements. If you or someone in your business is going out and doing speaking engagements, even if they're virtual these days, oftentimes they give you a video of it. They'll give you audio of it with your slides, whatever it may be. So you have that, that's perfect content. You don't even have to think about it. Podcasts and audio recordings are growing huge these days. Everyone's listening to podcasts. It's a great way, and we'll get into this in a little bit. It's a great way to put your name out there, to position yourself as a thought leader, and get in touch with people directly who you want to be in touch with. Emails and newsletters. It's a great way to just put a bow on everything. You can take all the content that we just talked about into a monthly newsletter and send it out to all your email list. You need an email list. It should be your clients, potential clients, people whose emails you have. You send it out there, and then they can contact. They're seeing this content, even if they saw it on social media, even if they saw it on your website, it gives it new life. And you'd be surprised, really, the difference in how many people don't see it on social media and see it just in your email. So what are the types of content? There's hot button topics, and this is content that relates very current events or that is soon, that will have an almost immediate impact on your potential clients or clients. So what does this mean? A law that changes. You know, if you have, you know, a company, obviously yesterday was election day. If there's a new law that just went into effect that's going to impact these businesses, or that's a big thing. If you're an account, a business account, and you're noticing an audit trend, and you can multiple people within a 2 or 3 week period come to you and say, I've experienced this, that's obviously a trend that's going on. Let your other clients know about it, because they're not necessarily thinking to contact you. News items, and it's similar to hot button topics. It relates to your knowledge bases, that your potential clients or customers and clients customers should be informed about, but it's not necessarily as urgent or as immediate as hot button topics. This may be something, also may be a law that's going to affect, but maybe it's going into effect after New Year. Maybe it's going into effect sometime in the summer, or maybe things, you know, maybe there's new regulations that are coming into effect that they need to know about. Or maybe you're releasing a new item and you're working on new development. Evergreen content. Evergreen content is really the core type of content. It's content that is on your basic knowledge bases. It's the basic information everyone's going to be that's tied to your business, that really doesn't change. And what's true today is going to be true 3 years from now, unless the world totally changes, unless things totally change. But for the most part, you can guarantee that's probably going to stay the same. Again, all these types of content are great we were talking about document, don't create. If you're having meetings on a regular basis, whether it's about a client issue, whether it's informing your sales staff about something that's going on, that's perfect content. You can always bleep out the name of clients or any specific information that shouldn't be shared. Results, projects, accomplishments, news and events. These are type of things. This is easy content. People rarely think to post this stuff. If you did something for a client and a huge success, people want to know about it. That's a huge driver of business. If people see that you did exactly for somebody else what they need done. If you're speaking at a big event, or you're even just attending a big trade show, that is content. I did a video for an event when I was working for a law firm. We did a big event that was a huge part of our marketing budget every year. That was in Las Vegas. We did a 30-second video, and we posted on all our social channels and said, hey, we're going to be there. This is the things that we're going to be talking about. This is who's going to be there. It drove 2 pieces of business. One was a current client who said, I didn't realize that you guys did those things. And one was someone that said, I've heard of you guys. I follow you guys on social media, but it's great. Can we set up a meeting while we're there at the conference, because we're attending as well? Messaging is a huge, important part of it. This is what's separating your content from being good and being effective. As we talked about, nice versus effective. Your messaging should be clear and consistent across all your marketing. There are companies out there who have one message on, their social channel, and if you go to their website, what they're doing, their content on their website is completely different, talking about completely different things. You need that consistency, because it creates messaging confusion. An overwhelming majority of brands have content that follows the same process. They say what they do. They try to say how they're different or better than their competition, which includes things like, our team is the best in the business. We're the premier provider. We offer world-class service. What do all those things mean? They mean nothing. They're fluff when it comes to content. Someone reads that you're the best in the business. That is not a tipping point that's going to make them contact you, because your competitor is saying the same exact thing. And based on the first 2, they expect behavior, which is a purchase, a contact. So this is another slide I use all the time. It's one of my favorite bands by way of Asbury Park, by way of New Brunswick, and actually originally Basking Ridge. It's the Bouncing Souls. They have a song that says, give me a reason to care and I'll sing along forever. What that means is, if you give your people a reason to care, and you are creating content that's relevant to them, They'll be your brand advocates. They'll be the ones recommending you. And if you're just putting stuff out there like we're the premier provider, we're the best in the business, that really doesn't separate you from anyone. That doesn't give them a reason to care. So companies invest a lot of money when it comes to messaging on their stories, and nobody cares. This goes back to the storytelling aspect of making yourself the guide and your potential customer or client the hero of it. You have to focus on their needs, their wants, their desires. Content marketing shouldn't leave your audience thinking, so what, or who cares? Most titles, most posts that you see really are like declarative statements, and they really don't tell you anything, but they're supposed to elicit you to click and find out more or read more, and they don't. People don't read anymore, they scan content. We talked about people are sitting on their mobile devices for hours and hours a day, and they're literally just scrolling through things, and it takes a certain kind of content that's actually going to make them stop. As we said, storytelling, be the guide, not the hero. So with messaging, how do you get the audience attention? You write headlines, you don't write titles. With that, what that means is content isn't the same as a high school book report. You go through things, you're trying to get someone's attention. You think about newspapers, they have headlines. They're trying to get you to buy the newspaper going way back, when newspapers were really a thing. They're trying to get you to buy those newspapers, and so you read more, not just a declarative statement. Be conversational. Don't try to sound fancy. One of the things I've seen a huge thing is people saying complimentary instead of free. Free is actually a trigger word. You can Google trigger words. When someone sees free, they're going to they are more likely to react if they see something more like complimentary. If you saw free pizza, are you more likely to react as opposed to complimentary pizza? Complimentary usually means, sure, it means the same thing as free, but it usually means that you have to purchase something or do something in order to get it. Brevity is key. Make sure your content is easily consumable, short, simple, to the point. Don't go too in depth. You don't want to give them all the answers. You don't want to give them, which we'll get into. You want to leave them wanting more, so they contact you. When you develop your messaging, reverse engineer your target audience. Identify their conflicts, their fears, their needs, their distractions, the things that you're trying to answer, and show your clients and customers how to reach and solve those issues, needs, conflicts, fears, distractions, because that's what they're looking for. They don't want to hear that you're the best in business. They want to know how you're going to solve their problems. So an example of content, here we go. Instead of join John Smith and Associates founding partner Tom Smith for a complimentary webinar. So you applied for a PPP loan, now what? This is a typical type of content that most places will post, and they think it's great. They think it's good. This is good. It's nice, but it's not effective. So instead of writing that, what should you do? Do this. Free webinar. What businesses need to know about PPP loan forgiveness? Free, trigger word, it's in all caps. It's going to get their attention. Most people with the one example above, they're not going to get past the founding partner part, because you're making it all about yourself and your business, not what the webinar is about. You don't even know it's about a webinar. And, so you applied for a PPP loan, now what? You don't know what they're talking about besides PPP loans. But if you say what you need to know about PPP loan forgiveness, that's going to drive people to sign up. So now we're going to get into different types of content and different places, different platforms. Website content being the core of what you should be doing. It's not just an online brochure. A lot of people think they can take their print brochures they've had for years and convert it into a website content. That's not how it works. You have to give people reason to come to your site. Again, that goes to being your own media company, creating the media that drives. So when they search on Google, they find you. When they search on Facebook, they find you. Your website content should be the foundation of your marketing. It needs to look good and function on mobile. So if your social media is driving people to your website and your website looks very amateurish, or isn't that well thought out, or there is no real thought behind it, people are going to click right off of it. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Don't put too much content in it. As I said, people are scanning. Use bullet points when you can. No one is going to go through pages upon pages. As you can see the graphic on the side here, this is something I created after seeing an About Me page that was absolutely ridiculous on a website. No one's going to read paragraph upon paragraph on your About Us and then click. There was more sub navigation links than I can count, detailing company's timeline, founders' humble beginnings, core values, charities they donated, 5K races they've participated in, company outings, and pictures of office dogs. No one is going to go through all that content. Maybe someone that's coming to the no potential client or customer is going to go through all that. Maybe someone coming for a job interview will, so they get a better idea of the business and the company and organization, but that does nothing to drive business. Even they probably won't even a potential job employee isn't going to read all of that information. Blogs are a great way. Do them on a regular basis. They're great for business. They're great for SEO. If people are searching things on Google and you're posting on a regular basis on a blog, they will find you. Google will put you automatically at the higher ranking. Oddly enough, we're talking about blogs. And number one question I always get in almost all of my presentations, how long should a blog be? How long should a blog be? It should be 2 scrolls on a smartphone or less. As we said, people are scanning content. People are consuming a ton of content. So you don't want to lose them. If you have a novel that's really a blog that's a novel, people aren't going to read it. People aren't going to take the time to scroll through it. Position yourself as a thought leader. We've talked about this before. Convey all specific information, but not all the information. You don't want to give them steps 1 through 10. You want to give them steps 1 to 7, 9, and 10, so they get an idea that you know what you're talking about, but not the idea that they can do it without your help. Which goes to the next point, is scare them. There's a scare factor that they need to know. They shouldn't be reading your content and be confident that they don't need to hire you or buy your product, because they can do it all themselves. Have a call to action, CTA, at the end of your blog. Studies show that having a simple line that says, if you're experiencing, this is very general, you're experiencing these issues, contact us today to speak to a professional. Something along those lines. Have it linked to your contact page. Have it linked to an email, so the person just has to click and then right there. You literally have to hit people over the head to get them to drive them to contact you or to make a purchase. Most people think all you have to do is post things, and obviously they understand that's what we do, but studies show that if you have a call to action, you're going to get more sales, you're going to get more clients from that. But don't, when you have a call to action, this is a trend that's happening a lot lately, don't make it its own section. If you have a blog and then there's a new header that says how XYZ Corporation can help, what that does is it creates a stop. So people know when someone sees that heading, when some people see that there's a different section and it says how we can help, they automatically say, I'm going to be sold to, and they move on. Your content and blogs should live on the website, not PDFs. I saw this recently with a business that was creating PDFs as blogs and uploading it. It's obviously not good for SEO. Have them live on, it's not good for mobile, because then you have to download it. Your blog should live on your website, not in a PDF document. And of course, anytime you post a new blog, you should promote it on social media. Create an image, create a graphic for it, and promote it on social media. And which brings us to social media. not every platform is made for every business. So no, you shouldn't be on your business shouldn't necessarily be on every platform. And here's a breakdown of really a general overview of some of the top um, social media platforms and how they break down and how they could relate to your business. Facebook is B2C and B2B marketing. It's mostly people who are over 30. Organic reach on for Facebook posts, which means you post it without having to promote it or having not paying for it to be an ad or whatnot, is very low for companies that don't interact with their people that are posting and commenting and liking. So this goes back to the putting the social in social media. Facebook groups hold a ton of power. Lots of businesses and consultants and professionals are creating their own Facebook groups. You have a cultivated audience with and a direct access to them. And all types of content work. You know, you can post blogs, you can post videos, even audio clips. Twitter. Twitter is also B2B, B2C, and B2B. Obviously, lots of people go there for news. A lot of you were probably on it last night with the election, looking for real-time updates. And it also gives you direct access to everyone, even important people. You can tweet your favorite athlete, and maybe they will respond. Maybe they'll retweet you. It's a way that the barriers are down. It's a way to interact with everyone. Instagram. Instagram is mostly B2C, and we'll get into that next slide. It's mostly people who are under 30. It also gives you direct access to people, even important people. If you are if you're DMing LeBron James, he's probably not going to respond. But if you're DMing someone on a much smaller scale, a local athlete, a local person, a local news person, there's a good chance they're gonna, or a local business, there's a good chance they're gonna reply. Instagram isn't for everyone though. 98% of all Instagram content fits into one of these categories: beauty, fashion, sports, entertainment, health and fitness, food, travel locations, family, animals and pets, photography, and art. So that's 98% of all the content on Instagram. So there's 2% left. And if your business doesn't fall into one of these categories, especially if you're B2B, you're going after a fraction of percent. And it probably isn't worthwhile for you to be posting. Some people are making millions of dollars off it. You hear the Kardashians are getting $1 million for a post. It's true. But just because they are doesn't mean it's necessarily right for your business. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. It's B2B. If you're not using it, you really should be. It's a gold mine for B2B marketing, B2B sales. It's not just for people looking for jobs. That's old school. That's an old school belief. People are on it all the time. Again, you can target specific companies, specific people with your marketing. If you're doing advertising, you can literally drill it down to specific companies, specific areas, as you can with other companies, other platforms. There's a ton of opportunity, lots of businesses going on. I personally have made companies millions of dollars off of LinkedIn over the years. TikTok. TikTok is big right now. You hear it all the time. The government has tried to shut it down. It's geared mostly towards B2C marketing. We talked about the guy on the skateboard with ocean spray, B2C. The average age of a user is between 9 years old and 24. So it's much younger, but so those people might not be your target audience, but they may influence your target audience. Parents are influenced by to make purchases and decisions by their kids. A lot of the content is music and dance related videos. That doesn't mean your business, if you're not music and dance related, should be doing music and dance related videos. I've seen some really awkward ones. And that doesn't mean it's right and doesn't make it effective marketing. Videos are the hot thing right now. Video is very effective, as we mentioned before, and versatile, and turns into tons of other content. You can strip the audio and make it into a podcast. You can take a still from it and make it into an image. You can chop a long video up into smaller segments and make it multiple posts. It's great for SEO. Here are some tools for making videos. People say, well, I see all these awesome videos on Instagram, all these awesome videos on TikTok. How do I make them? Sure, a lot of people do hire video people to editors to do it themselves, but there's a lot of free or low-cost software out there. iMovie comes automatically installed on every Mac computer. It's also an app on iPhone. Filmora, again, it's on Microsoft. KineMaster is an app for video editing, specifically for social media. It's pretty flexible, works pretty well. There is a slight charge, like there's like a one-time fee, I believe, of like $100 or something, but you get to use it forever and you get updates. Pick, Play, Post, also another app that's commonly used. And again, YouTube and TikTok have built-in editors that you can go and use, even do simple edits. Canva's awesome. I use it a lot. It's pretty basic, low learning curve. It's free for the most part. There is a pro edition you can pay for and get more features. It has frames and different things you can put into videos. If you want to put your logo into a video, you can use Canva. And Rev.com. Rev.com does transcription and closed captioning. A lot of people a lot of people that view videos on social media actually aren't listening to them. So you should have transcription. Rev.com does it. I believe it's $1.25 a minute, and they'll put it closed captioning at the bottom for you. It's pretty great service. They work pretty quickly. I believe it's 24-hour turnaround. Images, current market is highly visual. Posts with images do considerably better than text-only posts, especially on things on Facebook, on LinkedIn. If you're posting a picture, someone's gonna, again, you're trying to get someone to stop and pay attention to what you're posting. So having an image definitely helps. Perfect for branding and name recognition. Put your logo in a corner so people get familiar with your logos. People get familiar with you and your content. Don't steal others' images. A lot of people think like, oh, there's this awesome photographer, he took this picture, I'm gonna take it and use it for my own thing. If you get permission, sure. You may have to pay the person for permission, but don't just take it without their permission. Don't create images using celebrities. It's another question I get all the time. People say, well, you don't wanna take a picture of The Rock and put your company's logo on his t-shirt. It does nothing for you, and he might sue you because he gets paid millions of dollars to endorse companies. Image creation resources, we talked about Canva. There's also Adobe Spark, which is obviously Adobe product. There is a bigger learning curve with Adobe Spark compared to Canva. It's an app on mobile devices and tablets. There is a paid version. Adobe Photoshop is obviously been around forever. It's a much bigger learning curve than even Adobe Spark, but there is the online version and an app version as well. Audio and podcasts are the big thing right now. The future of content marketing is audio with podcasts, with Google Home, Alexa, and streaming services. This is where companies will need to be. Podcasts right now are blowing up. People are listening to podcasts all the time. It's overtaken radio. But with your content, you have to remember to ask, so what and who cares? If you're doing a podcast that's you and your buddies talking about craft beer, there's a million podcasts out there. What makes yours different if you guys are just sitting around drinking beer and joking around? Doesn't make good radio. Doesn't make good podcasts either. Try not to sound like bad radio. You've probably, if you listen to podcasts, have heard this, where it almost sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit, where it's so bad and so overproduced. Zoom, Skype, and just the audio recorder on your cell phone are perfect ways to record audio content. I have a client that has his own podcast. It's been doing pretty well. And he does it, especially with the pandemic going on. He does Zoom calls with people. He then takes the audio and makes that into the podcast. And you can ask, the thing with having your own podcast is you can ask your clients, the people you're trying to, instead of just cold emailing people saying like, hey, I'd love to have a meeting with you. Hey, I'd love that. Let me know when you can get on a call. Ask them to be on your podcast as a guest. Then you're talking to them, you're getting to know them. People want to be on podcasts because it gives them exposure. So if you're asking this client that you've been trying to get for a long time on as a guest, you're building a relationship with them, and you're more likely to get hired or by them or have them buy your product. So podcasting resources. Again, I'll send it out an email with all this. This is being recorded. Podcasting resources. There's editing is Ferrite. It's an app. There is a paid version. I think it's $30 forever. I use it. It's a pretty good app. It's literally drag and drop. Audacity, it's free downloadable software. I would say a huge percentage of all podcasts out there are using Audacity. It's for both Mac and for PC. Hosting, Podbean, SoundCloud, and Libsyn. They're all, people say, well, what's the difference? They're all pretty much the same. There is a free version, and then after you use up a certain amount of space, you have to pay. Their fees are relatively the same. You can embed them on your website with pretty much the same ease. It's really what you think is best, what you like the best, what you're most comfortable with. It's the whole tomato thing. Another great podcasting resource for best practices in podcasting is by Gimlet Media. They have a podcast, kind of meta, called Gimlet Academy. It's a whole series. I believe it's 4 or 5 episodes long. They're like 20 minutes each. Great series. Gimlet Media has it on the website. The link is there. And it gives you the basics from how to make good content, how to book guests. It gives you the whole 9 yards. Gimlet Media is if you're not familiar with them, a company that started out as a podcast company. They just sold to Spotify for a huge amount of money.